Are you looking to start dropshipping, but you can see there's 3 to 4 week delivery time with places like AliExpress? Or perhaps you even started dropshipping and you know that your customers just aren't willing to wait that long. If you're new to the channel, my name is James Eardley and I've built and scaled 7-figure e-commerce businesses which have allowed me time and location freedom. So with this channel, I'm helping you to do the same. So firstly, why is slow delivery such a big issue? Well, simply, more and more every year, customers just aren't willing to wait that long for their products to be delivered. So when customers nowadays are placing orders on your website, and then they're finding out, sometimes even after the order, that they now need to wait 3 or 4 weeks for delivery time, in today's day and age, people just aren't willing to accept that wait time. With places like Amazon being so prevalent and people ordering so often from Amazon, we're just expecting next day delivery or within 2 or 3 days delivery. And if you can't achieve that, customers are going to get very impatient and they're going to be looking for options elsewhere. And it is a big issue. Now, the way I also came across this issue was the first dropshipping business I ever started was by selling products on AliExpress, using Facebook ads to drive them to my website and making sales on my website. Then one of the problems I was faced with was that customers would then need to wait up to 4 weeks for that to be delivered because the products were still in China and my customers were in the US or Canada or the UK. And there was such a long time for them to wait. So in that time, I had to deal with unhappy customers constantly following up to find out when the products would be delivered. And then I had to reach out to suppliers who were speaking with broken English. And the whole process was difficult and it led to headaches for customers and ultimately headaches for me. I even had returns, even after all that time waiting for that delivery, because the products were of poor quality. Then I had to then wait weeks for that to be returned back to me before I could then refund the customer. And the whole experience is something that isn't scalable as a business. So we have to move away from this and into what is accepted in today's day and age. So the secret to achieving fast delivery is to find suppliers that are already in the same country as your customers. So you need to be able to source the products that you're selling from suppliers in your country. So in my case, I now sell to UK customers only, and I'm also only sourcing products that are almost always in the UK already. Some suppliers I work with have products in mainland Europe, but they're still able to achieve fast delivery. But the bulk of the products that I sell now with my dropshipping businesses are in the UK, and so I can deliver as an average of about 3 working days to get to customers. Now, this is a world apart from expecting people to wait 4 weeks compared to now waiting 3 days. And the way you do that is by finding dropshipping suppliers in the country where you're selling. This is because you don't have to deal with imports, duties, imports, tax. You don't need to worry about products getting over borders. You don't have to worry about the long shipping times to get these products halfway around the world. And that's why it's so much more simple. Even if the supplier perhaps is based elsewhere, the key is that the stock and the products are already in the same country as your customers. And that's going to make it so much easier for you. So how would you actually find these suppliers in the same country as your customers? Well, the first way to start is to choose a proven niche, so a proven niche of products that are proven to sell in your country already. So the way we do that is by going through niche validation, and we make sure any ideas you have of a product have been validated already, and you can see that there are companies already dropshipping those products in your country. So you start off with a blank slate when you first think about products that you want to sell. Perhaps you've got ideas of water coolers or office furniture, or there's an idea of a product in your mind that you'd think would be a great idea to sell online. Then from there, we'd go through the 9-step validation criteria to understand, is that product going to work? Now, it takes work and data crunching first up front before we start selling, but that's the key, so that when you start selling, there are already suppliers in your country operating before you start selling. The alternative is what I did initially, was that I had ideas for products to sell, saw that they were available on AliExpress, and immediately started building a Shopify store around it without doing the validation criteria. And that meant that as soon as I was spending money on Facebook ads, the products weren't selling. And I would have been able to know this if I'd have done the data up front. So you've got a choice. Either do this niche validation criteria up front before you start selling, and then when you turn on the gas for ads, that they'll start selling up straight away. Or you don't do the validation, you start sending ads and you start sending traffic to products that you think will sell, and then you find out they don't sell after you started spending money. So it's up to you which way around you want to do it, but I'd always recommend doing the validation criteria first. Now, I'll quickly go through the niche validation criteria so you know that process to take any product ideas that you have through. And this will ultimately mean that by the end of the criteria, you'll find the suppliers in the country that you want to sell, so you can also achieve fast delivery. So the first step is to make sure that they're high ticket products, to make sure that it would be a niche that I'd go into. So the average product price of the products that you're considering has to be over £300 on average. So say you wanted to sell office furniture, you'd need to be looking at the high end, maybe standing desks, in order to make sure the average price of those products is over £300. The next step is to make sure there's customer demand for the products that you're trying to sell. There's no point going into a market where there's no one there trying to buy these products frequently. So there needs to be at least 10,000 monthly searches for your products that you want to sell, that niche, and within a month in the country that you're selling. The next criteria is to make sure that there's no seasonal trends and that this niche isn't trending down. So you don't want to go into a niche like, for example, CDs or vinyl records that are trending down. Perhaps vinyl records might be trending up now, but you don't want to go into a product niche where there's getting less and less demand. The next one is you don't want to make sure you go into a niche that's brand dominated. So, for example, TVs, if you wanted to start selling TVs, the brands that operate in the TV industry, so the brands of TVs like Sony, Panasonic, LG, Samsung, these are household names and they really dominate the market. And so for you to be able to get into that market, you'd need to partner with these huge global brands. And that wouldn't be something that would be very easy at all to do, especially not for a first store. So avoid brand dominated niches initially as well. The next criteria is to make sure there's price consistency for that niche. So you need to ensure that all the retailers that are selling those products in the niche, when you can see the exact same product sold by different retailers, you need to check that they're being sold at the same price to make sure there's price consistency. That means that you won't be entering a market where there's a race to the bottom and retailers are all undercutting each other. Instead, you want to go into a market there's consistent pricing, and then you're on a level playing field when you get started. And then the final criteria, when we're going to take our niches through this step process to make sure that we ultimately come out with fast delivery, is to find 3 direct competitors in the market. So that means, say you've identified that we'll go with standing desks, so office furniture as a wider niche, but specifically standing desks has made it all the way through the niche criteria and all the boxes have been ticked so far. Then you get to the final step, which is to find 3 direct competitors. So what you're doing here is you're searching in your country for websites and companies that sell standing desks online, and you need to find 3 direct competitors. So direct competitors means they are companies, these websites have no shop, no showroom, and no warehouse. And to make sure that they are direct competitors, because they have no advantage, no difference in business model as you would as a dropshipper. So you need to find 3 of those, and once you've found 3 of those, you know that that market is able to sustain dropshipping. And from those 3 direct competitors, you can then find their list of suppliers on their website, and that is how you find suppliers in your country that have fast delivery and are already dropshipping with the products that you have validated in your country as well. From that point, you reach out to the suppliers and suddenly you have access to products that you can dropship to customers within 3 working days and sometimes as fast as the next day delivery. So that's my strategy for achieving fast delivery, and it's been a complete game changer for the way that I run my e-commerce businesses. So many less headaches and ultimately a lot more profit because it's a scalable business that I've been running now for years, and the business compounds on itself year on year and gets better and bigger every year. So that's that on this video. If you are struggling to get out of a 9-to-5 job and starting your own e-commerce business where you can live life on your own terms, well, I recommend you check out the first link in the description. Don't worry, it's not an expensive course or anything like that. It's actually just a gateway to our free community, which is called Freedom Builders. And inside that community, we're getting ambitious people, driven people together to support each other, help each other out, to build lives of freedom that they can really be proud of. So if that sounds like something that would be helpful to you, then check out that link. If it doesn't sound like it'd be helpful, then completely ignore it and don't worry. But if you have enjoyed today's video, then leave it a like. Subscribe if you want more content like this and if you like this type of video. and comment to let me know if you plan to get fast delivery for your dropshipping business as well. Remember, you're not just watching a channel here, but you're joining a movement of people building freedom in their lives. So thanks for watching all the way to the end. You are a legend, and I will catch you in the next video.